Are you hearing a little bit of feedback? Just see. Oh, you know what? That could be from me. Hang on one second. Let me just shut off the program here. And I don't hear it now.
Okay, good.
Sure. Sorry about that.
All right, cool. So, welcome everybody. We have a New Year's Eve edition of Coffee with Contractors. Today, um, Paul Roseberry, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
And is our guest, bringing joy and best practices to how we operate. Because I feel like when we lead companies, when we lead teams, when we lead families, we need to always lead by example. And a lot of times it's, whose example? And obviously it's the Lord's example. So, Paul, welcome to the show. Share a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Sure, Dimitri, thanks so much for having me. So my name is Paul Roseberry, and I do a couple things. What I focus on, I help people to learn skills for confidence and relationship building. That's sort of my kind of psychological and social endeavor. But I'm also a stand-up comedian at night. So
Oh, I didn't know that about you. That's a bonus.
yeah, sure, sure. So and I think those two things tend to go hand in hand in many ways. I really like cerebral kind of intellectual comedy, even though that may sound kind of dry to state it that way, as long as it's not presented as such. That's kind of the under roots of my comedy. I really like a thinking person's comedy. And likewise, I'm really drawn to confidence teaching and relationship building because I think they're critical to enjoying life and also to, as we were kind of getting into a little bit before, building a great society. Absolutely critical. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm getting this feedback. One sec. Are you hearing that?
A little is I think it's Santa's coming to town. It hears like jingle bells.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's weird. Sorry, I'm sure we can cut this out.
Yeah, we can edit things. I mean, if you think it's better to reset and start again, that might help. But
We'll see if it starts. Um, I hear just a tiny bit, but hopefully it just stays where it is.
okay.
Sorry, because I didn't want your listeners to be completely distracted by a fuzz. Yeah, your call. I don't know if you feel like we can pick it up from where.
The fuzz, those things can be edited,
Okay.
right? This noise. So I mean, think about it, right? Like you're a comedian, right? And I'm an aspiring comic, right? And
Oh, great.
I took stand-up comedy classes in Philly. I'm not really allowed to be funny here because pronouns. So once they said pronouns,
We're already on the same page. I
once they
like it.
said pronouns, I'm like, he, him, me. Is that correct? I don't know what's correct. I don't know what's not correct. I feel like I'm ready to stand up on stage in New York
Yeah.
because comedy's not funny right now. It's become a lecture.
Telling you, you know what? It's funny. My wife and I just watched Dave Chappelle,
Oh,
his
let's
his
talk
new
about that.
special on Netflix.
Let's go deeper.
Yeah,
Go on. I'm
sure.
ready. I'm
And
ready.
I'll tell you, I think it's exactly what you just said. I didn't think it was funny. It was over an hour. I think it was like almost an hour and a half. And it really it felt like a sermon,
It was
if anything.
painful. It was painful.
Yeah,
It was,
okay, so
it was like a horse-sized suppository shoved right up our ass.
thank you. So you saw it and
I mean, at least it was smooth. At least he's hairless, right? But
you're a
come
funny
on,
guy.
he's in fatigues, holding cap. Like we forgot his name, right? For those of us who can spell and remember, this was a quarterback who was a black person adopted by a white family, lovely white family, who treated him with full love, and then he grew up to he kneeled at the national anthem, right? And then he
Yeah.
and then he used that as a mask to stop training and stop being the best in class, and then like when everyone cut him or didn't want him because he's toxic to the culture, they're like, oh, racism. Well, come on. And Dave Chappelle, right, himself, right?
Yeah.
Humongously funny comic in Half Baked.
Sure.
I mean, first class, never take that credit away, right? The cast was perfect, the story amazing. You wish you were there, and that you were one of the cool people in the fast food restaurant, right? You wanted to be in that cast, right? That was the to be in, right? To hang out on the couch and live that life, and the dog jumps
Yeah.
out the window, like it's amazing, right? And then the show, Chappelle show, I mean, just amazing. Being Prince, Charlie Murphy, every role he picked up was golden, amazing, right? It was like he was Willy Wonka. He's just coming out with the hits, right? You didn't know how he did it, but he had a great cast, supporting writers, and he did it. Then he starts on stage. Then he does his stand up and he talks to people and he expects people to laugh because you're looking up to this person like he's an academic while he's schooling you. Remind you, I don't know if you've ever attended a Chappelle show or not, but I did. An early type show, right? One of those pre-shows before the Netflix show, right? So he's coming through Philly, right? Here at the Punchline, a little tiny club in town by the Fishtown. And so I buy two tickets. I'm like, I'm a general contractor. I want to take some of my clients here. It'd be a great thing to take a client to. Some go to a ball game, others go to a theater. I'm gonna take somebody to a Chappelle show. I call
I
all
love
my
it.
clients. I said, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Oh, I can't make it. Family, work, this, that. I'll come next week. I'll come on Saturday. It's only one night. It's like it's a drive by. He's gonna do his show. He's gonna do up his shtick and then move on. All right. So you have to take your phones. And mind you, oh, so guess who I bring? Because otherwise you waste a ticket. I brought my mother. Right.
That's hilarious.
Well,
That's really fun. I
I
like that.
it gets better. Right, Mom, he's gonna curse. He's like, well, I did see some dirty comics in the '80s. You did? Who? He said Carlin. You're so lucky. You saw George Carlin.
Yeah.
He said dirty words. I said, well, this guy's gonna just bury Carlin even more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So you go there, you lock up your phones because you can't expose the secret sauce of the best
Yeah.
stuff that he's got going before he drops to Netflix and gets a big check.
Yeah.
So we lock up our phones, right? We're holding that, and it's time for jokes. And he brings up Chuck Berry's sex tape. That's it. He just talks about it. He doesn't even say any descriptions, nothing. He just brings it up. Like it's like here's what I'm thinking in my head. It's 2 or 3 in the morning. He's very high. He's flipping through TV. He's flipping through the internet, or people are sending him things. And he sees this and he wants to bring it up on the show. Well, it wasn't funny. Why did I have to lock up my phone to be told that something exists? I know mold exists, right? I know dusty old comics exist, right? But to
Yeah.
quote Red Fox, sometimes a mofo has to wash his ass. Okay? So this guy's just dirty, all right? Like dirty in the wrong way. Okay? He has passed his prime, he's irrelevant. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just me, right? But what really flipped the script on me to say, you know what, instead of just let somebody express themselves and let them find their audience, like he's an agenda driven guy. The rumors on the internet say he was cloned, replayed. I just say he's fully baked. He's not hungry. And I mean, we can go down a hit list if you want to. I'm not here to attack, I'm here to unite, but let's call out the bad and clean out the snakes out of this industry. Even the Kevin Harts. Anybody who stands behind like casinos. I mean, you know how he escaped North Philly? He's short. The bullets went right over him. You know what I mean? Like, if you were 6 foot and over, you're not here anymore. But that guy's like 5 foot -5, and with
Yeah.
lifts. And what has he done to lift Philly? Right? At
Nothing.
least, at
Yeah.
least LL is coming back to town. He stood for some principles. He stood by the unions. He didn't want to perform Fourth of July. He's back for New Year's Eve, a man of his word, right? Through and through.
Yeah.
With
Yeah. He's a
comic,
character.
I mean, I grew up watching Jay Leno in Atlantic City a few times. Don Rickles, right? Insult comic, but he loved everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're
He's- oh,
yeah, and I mean, think about it. When he called Bill Maher a smug little cracker, part of me laughed, and part of me thinks like, let's write some jokes for Bill right now, right? Because I don't like all his politics, but no, he's been there forever, and he's been canceled,
yeah.
and he probably supports these types of people. And I hope when he comes back next week, he's like, "Oh, look at all the stuff I missed. My company got sold. It's either going to be owned by like the left or the right. So I feel like I'm torn between two parents who both love me a little bit. And then yeah, I got Dave Chappelle calling me a smug little cracker. So he is a little salty. He's very salty, right? He's got guilt from both sides, literally, and in many ways. And when you're criticized by this person, how do you throw back at them? Right? Because when you attack somebody, right? if we attack each other in kindness and with humor, it's funny, right? You're joshing each other, but people are soft now, and especially like when you if you go out to a job site, work site, anywhere, you're like people will just talk. They're not here to offend. They're not here to kind of make you feel small or demeaning or misogynistic. But these words get
And
through.
chops, man.
That's yeah, I
It's
know
busting
that.
chops.
It's how you grow
I'm from
up.
New York.
God, if we were out in the tribal wilderness right now, right, in some like island tribe, who knows what they would make you do to prove that you're a man, right?
Yeah.
Now, 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 calling out wrong and unfunny people who are just keep getting, they're taking the spotlight away from bright people. Right? It's time to retire these people, wouldn't you say?
I think socially for a long time now, what we've been doing is we've stopped raising the roof and we've started raising the floor. And it's not always the way it needs to be. You know, we're slowing down the leaders of the pack so that the absolute furthest back stragglers don't get lost. And if you look at the way nature works, some animals aren't going to make it. You know what I mean? You can't hold back progress, actual progress, for the sake of making sure that every single person is completely comfortable and every I don't do woke society. I don't do woke culture. I don't do woke jokes. You were talking about the pronouns. I always said when the pronouns get big, my pronouns are I and me, so that anytime you talk about me, no one knows who you're talking about because it sounds like you're talking about yourself twice. That's what I like. Hey, did you hear that thing I said earlier? Yeah, I've been with you all day. No, not me. No, wait, yeah, yes, you. Yes, I know you. No, I and me were hanging out earlier, and now you just sound like you have split personality and no one listens to you at all. That's what I'd like to pass along is the opportunity. Or you and your, so then it sounds like you're talking to your friend twice. These people are insane. They should be identified as insane. That's what I think. But I think we froze. You still there? Trying to reconnect. Damn. Dimitri, looks like we froze, buddy. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. It was a little slow.
I think it froze for a minute there.
No, you were in a good run there. Where did you grow up? What town did you grow up in?
So I grew up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So
So
I'm
tell
East
me, was
Coast
it a
through and
funny
through.
town? Was it a funny town or a little dry?
You know, I'd say it's got enough sauce. I mean, it's a port town in New England. Like people when I was growing up there, people still worked pretty hard. Now it's gotten kind of rich. It's too sceney, so it's kind of it like lost its charm around 2000, I would say, which is right around when I left. But and I shouldn't say it still has some charm, but it's just a little more. It's got more of a veneer now than it used to. It used to be a little more meat and potatoes, where like these jokes we're talking about, busting chops. I mean, we say busting balls. I don't know if we can say that on here,
Go
but
ahead. Speak freely. We're in America. I think we're still in America.
let's hope today anyway. Oh yeah, busting balls, man. The way I see it, that's how we learn to build trust. That's how you find out if somebody's trustable. And in order for society to function, we've all got to trust each other. We've got to know each other a little bit. And, if you're talking with somebody at work and you make a loose joke and they roll with it, then you're like, okay, great. Well, now I know I can rely on you. I can see you a little bit. I can trust you a little bit. I know a little bit about who you are. You know a little bit about who I am. And we can now work together. But if I say something even lightly chunky, a little bit of salt, and you freak out, then I know you're not strong. And I can't pass the ball to you and expect you to know what to do with it. And I think that that's a critical part of society. And we're really dividing in that way. And it's funny because we're dividing, I think, between people who, there's two sides of the coin. There's people who are comfortable taking the role of a self-thinker. And then there are people who say, I do not want to think for myself for a myriad of reasons, including one, it's effort. Two, what if I'm wrong? And three, what if I separate from the group? And I am afraid to separate from the group. So whatever the group says, we also March of the Penguins. We saw that one penguin who strayed from the group, and the narrator told us he's going to freeze and die, and he will, and we know that. And I think some people took that to heart, and the rest of us said, well, shit, I guess I better learn how to make a fire. I think I'd rather trust myself. And if the whole group is nuts, then I'm going to go live in the woods by myself.
I mean, think about the last many years, right? There's a 24/7 marketing campaign to stay safe and effective, right?
Which one was this? Oh, sorry, you glitched for a second.
Like the whole COVID campaign of the last few years, right? It was a whole brainwashing initiative. So the only people who kind of, I guess, advanced past that first level of Darwinism, right? Because I mean, what happened the other day? The death of a Kennedy, right?
I didn't.
Carolyn Schlossberg, whatever, 35 years old, a very
Mhm.
strong advocate of vaccinations and boosting, received a leukemia diagnosis and, well, leaves behind two kids, right? But was vehemently against her uncle, right?
Still here and has six pack abs at 66 years old or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
he is.
yeah. So he's doing something right. So maybe he stands for a couple wild ideas or two. But look at that. You know what? I make this joke lately, and maybe you would stand behind it as well. If you're healthy, you don't need health insurance.
I mean, there's something to be said for it. There's something to be said. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, but today you get penalized if you don't have health insurance. I live in California. You get a tax charge.
I mean, do you take a tax deduction for all the illegals you fund?
It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot we could go. It's because I'm telling you, man.
How many tents fit in your backyard?
When I first moved here, I've lived in LA twice. I lived here from '03 to '08, and then I moved back in 2018. And yeah, there were tents right out. I live in the valley. The 101 is right here. I mean, it was nuts. But yeah, I think this is why it's important though that we offer people. I refer to it almost as like an operating system, like a way to think, a way to use your mind. And I don't mean a way to think like to be thought for at all, but I mean a way to really organize your feelings and your thoughts so that you can feel productive and effective in your own personal strength. That's what I think society needs. Sure, if I were a leader, I might fear that a little bit. I might, because I'd say, well, I would rather, if I'm going to lead 300 million people, like the United States, 330, whatever it is, then I'd say, God, I guess it's easiest if they're asleep. That's when it's easiest to lead, or at least to keep the cattle herded. It's when they're asleep. But you get 330 million individually thinking people, and then it could become complicated. So as a leader, I might fear that unless I really felt that there was a unified interest that would keep everybody fighting for the same cause. Like, if you run a company, you want everyone to think, you want people to work together to come up with new solutions because you have a need for competition. Some other business is going to eat your lunch if you don't stay competitive in the market. So it's good if people think, but again, you've got to have the leadership skills to be able to appreciate that value. And I don't think we have that these days. I think people are afraid of it. And I think that the individuals, when we think of a bunch of free thinking individuals, I think we think of anarchy, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't, I mean, because likewise, if you have 330 million people who never learned how to balance a checkbook or to maintain their then they're not going to own houses, as we don't, and they are going to have financial troubles. They're not going to be able to sustain, what is it? Half of the United States couldn't sustain a $400 incident, like some crazy low. And so it's not wrong to teach people some autonomy. And I think it's incredibly valuable. And I try to do my part as far as, helping people to understand how confidence works, how relationships work, so that they can, God dare I say, enjoy their life a little bit. Because I don't think a lot of people do. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm a pretty strong observer of society. And I think a lot of people, if you were to do a Benjamin Franklin T-graph of stresses versus pleasures, I think it's more stress than pleasure. And I think a lot of the pleasure is derived by avoidance of stress.
We are in a place here in Philadelphia today where there's less brotherly love than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it firsthand this year. The justice system doesn't exist if you're a victim. If you're a criminal, it's awesome.
It's wild.
It's like Wheel of Fortune. You can just keep spinning. You don't lose a turn.
Yeah. It's
they
really
called
getting
me. I've been attacked actually 3 times with punches to the head.
Really?
Yeah, 3 different occasions. One was a teenager in Walmart in Northeast Philly, and my wrongful indiscretion was politely telling this person, again, Mr. Rogers style, that Hey kids, please get up. These scooters are for overweight and handicapped people. No, I got leg things. I got this thing. And then they yell at me. And as I walk away, the guy hits me, right? The back of the head. And I can't stop them. I'm not going to hit them. Hey, it's them. They run off. Okay. You wait for the police. They don't show up. You call for them. They don't come. You go there. You make a report. Nothing happens.
I am sorry. I was just trying to tighten my video there.
Sure.
That's the world we're in these days.
It is. It is. And then what's even worse is in the land of landlords and tenants in big cities. And you just added this the other day. Your wonderful mayor, who fired the fire department chief
Oh, she's the worst.
after she turned off the water. Like you turned off the water and then you fired her basically. So it's like you hurt someone's ability to do their job, and then you fired them for calling you out for harming their ability to do their job. That killed people. That destroyed
Yeah.
property and business. Anyway, so you have a walking hypocrisy there who just passed rent control, right? And there's whispers of rent control here, but at least we don't have a leftist yet as mayor. We just have an idiot. Our current mayor
Yeah.
is great
They
for their
don't kill.
hairstyle. I was actually, oh, here's another funny joke, and that's based on truth. I was there for the last city council meeting ahead of Thanksgiving, and it was very funny right at the end when the city council members were praising each other for giving away turkeys. I want to praise Councilman so and so's office for giving away turkeys, and I want state senator as well giving away all these turkeys. Mind you, why can't they thank the people who back them, the taxpayers, the poor people of Philadelphia, for paying that bill to support a handful of other poor people in Philadelphia? Right? Why can't they just say things for what they are? Because no one digs in their own pocket. They keep giving each other false praise, and we tolerate it because people who think for themselves want to enter business for themselves. You don't want to be part of a corrupt structure. When you see a system right now, all throughout government, of waste, of plunder, we pay more taxes on everything and higher grocery bills because of inflation and incorrect spending. For a government that just throws billions away. Oh, we don't have money to feed people. We don't have money to house people. Oh, but we have billions for this country and that one.
Israel.
That one. Right. The modern state of Israel, not the biblical. We have a split in our country and politics and everything now. And it's kind of sad because there's a Christian Zionist movement. And I grew up, and again, I'm Greek Orthodox Christian, so like I'm more traditional in my beliefs. When I see people who think Israel first, but you're born here, like where's your loyalty?
Doesn't
And
work.
if you look all throughout Congress, everyone who's an APAC member, just leave. Like just leave before, like there's a way to arrest you, but how are we going to enforce that? Again, that involves conversations, right? Which at some point might become illegal. You can't outlaw speech. It's a human right.
It's wild that
We
we're
want.
one of the where I don't know who else has a freedom of speech amendment like we do. It is fascinating that I mean, not to go down the rabbit hole, but you see in Europe, especially in England, if you say something that could possibly offend, if you say, well, I feel like the Muslims are creating a lot of crime, you can be thrown in jail for that. You can be
But
thrown
it's
in jail in
true.
England, even
But it's
even if it's
true.
true. Even if it's true,
I
there was
know. I
somebody
know. Yeah, you're right.
that there was somebody who was attacked, and they said something offensive about the person who attacked them, and they went to jail longer than the attacker.
Thank you. What do you think's about to happen to me? If I keep going to court, I'll be filed in contempt because I'll call the judge a corrupt piece of crap. I said, are you paid by the cartel? Are you paid by Soros? Who's paying you off? Somebody's paying you off to give all these people the good boy treatment. And the victim has to take a day off work over and over again to explain themselves to a repeating cast of clowns that the DA sets up on purpose. Every month I go there, if I continue to go there, it's a new person assigned to the case. One month it was a legal intern who can't even put a sentence together. And I had to appeal to a higher authority. All I asked is that person still there? And they're like, no, we transferred them. Oh, how about this other person who was helping me? Oh, we transferred them too. So you have to always start over. So the next thing is to leapfrog to the federal banks. And if they don't, then we have to withhold funding. I'm a reformed accountant. I went to school for that. And we're told it's a voluntary system. So we're volunteering things, right? Now, if people say, well, I work for somebody and I can't, you can always claim more exemptions and then decide at the end of the year what you need to pay. So if at some point you're like, I'm against funding war in Ukraine, I'm against whatever's going towards Israel, I take that off. Like, there's only one way to kind of speak truth to the air is like group resistance. And for 3% T tax, we start a revolution, and now we
Yeah.
have 20% tax, and it goes to Somali pirates. Oh, we're gonna get the money back. Sure. How? It already got eaten. It already got spent.
Coming
It's
back.
not like
The
it got
closest you can do
invested.
is shut it off. The
Now,
closest you can
mind
do is
you, wait, hold on. If you want the money back from Israel, it's in an investment. It didn't get wasted.
yeah, it's true.
There's a startup company somewhere. There's investments back in our own entities. And I mean, I don't think it's funny, but it's serious that companies like BlackRock, Blackstone are expanding into power companies. Like they're taking over monopoly, right? They have monopoly power, 30% of the market with discount rate at a time where we live in a two-tiered society. AI is going to like destroy a whole bunch of jobs, and some people are awake to it and some aren't. And I feel that what's going to keep us going is staying creative. A lot of time people they outsource their creative to the chat GPTs of the world. I look at it as an organization tool, and I don't want to defer all my thoughts to it. But I want your perspective on how you think, what holds true to the future, or like where's your hope and where do you see things as they sit now?
I hope that people can better find, I say better subjective, maybe some people are doing it well. I hope that more people have more access to a way to have a perspective on life that makes it enjoyable for them. I think a lot of people, like I said, we're not really given an owner's manual for life. We fall out of another person who probably didn't really know much more than we will soon, and they fell out of someone who didn't know much more than they did by the time they were in high school. I feel like most people don't really develop a lot beyond the teenage years. I've met 80-year-old teenagers. It's very common. And I think most people are not enjoying the ride. I really do believe that. And I think that it's not new, though. I think if you look back, I don't know how, if having lived now, I don't know how I could live before the invention of toilet paper. 53, I believe it was. I don't know. I don't know. How did people for thousands of years walk around with an unclean ass? I have no idea how people did it. I don't know how that wouldn't distract you from everything you did all throughout your day. That's all I'd be thinking about. I would have to only poop in a river, and I would have to then go wash in the river, and that would be either the beginning or the end of my day. I don't know. But still, I think life is inherently complicated. I think I think it was the Greeks, who came up with Sisyphus, and life feels very Sisyphusian, and I think that it's important to consider how to use that to your advantage. I mean, because Sisyphus, he pushed the rock up the hill, the rock crumbled into stones, rolled back down the hill, he went back down and started over again. And there are philosophers who say that, Sisyphus was happy when he was walking down the hill, whatever. But if you think about, life can feel that way, and then it's not enjoyable. But if your lungs operate that way, then life can be enjoyable. That's a very good thing. If your heart works that way, then it's a very good thing. So you've got to understand, I think, what to delegate to a Sisyphusian acceptance. And then what things, as you also said, to find your creative interest. I believe that the happiest a person could be is to find your highest and best engagement of your talents and your skills that are personally yours, not social, not what other people are good at or other people care, but what you personally find value in and excel at. If you can engage in field or those topics, then I think it's a lot easier for some of these other things that are always going to be bothering us, like living without toilet paper prior to 1853. I think you can get through it because your focus is on enjoyment. And that's what I would love to help people see. I would love for people to see it more. I'd love to find it more for myself. because there are ways to enjoy life, but it is not a guarantee, and it's probably not the likely, unfortunately.
So I'm trying to use some of my to excerpt the book that I've been rereading, an old one. It's called a whack on the side of the head from someone who took a whack to the front and the back of the head. This is how to be more creative, right?
Sure.
You gotta not just think out of the box, but like you say, like, oh, how crazy is my idea, right? Because Steve Jobs talked about like it's the crazy people that rule the world. Weird is
Of
rich,
course.
normal is poor. Do you want to be ordinary? Do you want to be extraordinary? Right. So to stand out, um, again, not too far off the reservation, but within the three bell curves of standard deviation, I feel like that's what's going to stand us apart as individuals. Right. In a time of mediocrity, in a time of sameness and irrelevance, as a comic, as a writer, as anyone who expresses themselves, you got to stand up and be known and punch hard right out of the gate with your core message, right? What would you say? What would you say your core message is?
My core message, well, like I said, by defining happiness as the highest and best engagement of your personal skills, then to attain that would be the core of my message. And a means of getting there is understanding. So I have an equation for confidence because I think confidence is critical in life, but yet it's very poorly defined. God, I should have it handy. I even looked up on Webster one time, and their definition was not very good. But confidence, I believe, is the feeling that you are able or can attain the ability to accomplish a task. And my formula for confidence is confidence equals A greater than or equal to T. And that's a nerdy way to say confidence occurs when your assets are equal to or greater than the requirements of your task. And I think that confidence has to be broken down this way because it is very elusive. So say, for example, if you want to go to the grocery store and there's something that costs $5 that you want, then you know the task is purchasing that item for $5. And the requirements of that task are to provide $5 to the cashier. And then your task is basically complete, given that you can get to the store, pick up the item, walk out the door with it. So in order to have confidence in this task, you're going to look in your wallet. And we'll get to the metaphor in that, but you got to look in your wallet. You got to see what you're carrying, and you got to be aware of what you're carrying, and you got to be able to understand how to look at what it is that you bring with you. And if you have $5 in your wallet or $100, doesn't matter. As long as you have $5 or more, you're going to accomplish that task. You're going to walk up to the counter, you're going to hand the $5 to the cashier, and you're going to leave without a problem. Now, we don't think of that as confidence. We just think of that as buying a loaf of bread. That's what we think of it as. But really, that is confidence. You understand the details and requirements of your task. You understand the task, the requirements of the task, and you understand your ability to perform. Do you have the assets necessary? Now, if you have less than $5, then you're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel very uncomfortable walking up to that cashier, as you should. You're not going to have confidence, and you shouldn't. It's not likely you're going to leave legally with that item. Likely, if you don't know how to look in your wallet or you refuse. I think a lot of people don't want to look at who they are. A lot of people are very afraid to look at who they are. They're afraid that that wallet's going to have no dollars in it. Or worse, it's going to have an IOU. It's going to have a debt. So they don't want to look in their wallet at all. And people just, they pick these goals, these tasks, if you will, that have nothing to do with who they are. People will pick tasks because they think that's what society wants of them. This is what my parents want of me. This is what will get me a hot wife. This is what will make me feel better about the kids who picked on me in school. If I go become a professional baseball player, then I can tell everybody I'm the one who's cool and you're all, even if you have no baseball skills, whatever, or you want to be an actor or a singer or whatever, people will go and pick these absurd goals because they want to offset a deficit in themselves, a sense of inadequacy, and it's never going to fulfill you. It just won't. what you've got to do, you got to take some time to look at who you are and be able to do that, because it's not as scary as you think. Life is very brief. This body that we're handed, it's kind of like a rental car. You didn't build it. It was handed to you. It's your vessel while you're here, and then you're going to give it back. What do you really care? Who cares? Know if it's a stick or an automatic, at least learn how to drive it, and then you can go somewhere. So I think people learning a little bit about themselves, taking some of the fear out of it, and then learning a plan for how to accomplish your tasks. That's how life gets fun. That's what I think. And I would love for people to understand more of that.
No, that's a great perspective. I'm glad my shtick still works. It's not automatic. It's broken down quite a few times. And I'm not just using car metaphors, but like how we all break down in life. You have to rebuild yourself, repair, or you're going to rust out. A friend of mine said that if you stay green, you'll grow. If you get ripe, you'll rot. So like, don't be a banana.
Yeah. 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 You got to always be growing in life. You got to always be growing. And I really think there are two kinds of people in that sense too. There are people who have just reached that infinite death loop of non-growth. They've gone as far as they're going to go. They don't really want to grow as people. And I think that that's determined by your ability to be wrong. If you can be wrong, then you can grow. If you're not wrong anymore about anything, then you're going to go from ripe to rot. That's when, no, nobody really likes to be wrong. It's not fun, but it's that opening in the loop that allows us to gain new knowledge and to grow and to get bigger, and I think that's what keeps life fun. Once you close the loop, you're going to suffocate.
And we are puckering up harder than a constipated mule lately. People don't want to open up. They want, I was in church the Sunday before Christmas last week, and priest says, I wish people could just be more open and vulnerable with each other, share what's hurting you. Maybe we can help each other. And that sounds beautiful, and that would make a great movie. But imagine
Yeah,
in reality, if a friend circle, a family, or coworkers, you share what's wrong. Hey, I'm not feeling great today. Oh, what's wrong? Now, that could be ammo to be used against you in the next performance review. If this person's
sure.
not stable, a good team player, this could be a healing tool on how to improve and clear up communications, or even serve as what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about is, hey, maybe you're not on the right seat of the bus. Maybe you need to take this role or that role, or work on a different effort, and that's okay. I think we're too quick to judge each other right now on a snap basis and not address our own matters. I mean, in my own confidence journey, I didn't believe in myself at all. Like, so you pour a lot into personal development, work, lifting up your circle, being around better people, happier people, also that you can grow. And then, I have the show, right, which enables me to talk to all kinds of leaders. And through osmosis, through just repetition, I communicate better. And people who I just
Sure.
meet at a random, they're like, how do you do this? I'm like, do what? Talk, say hello, ask you how
Yeah,
you are. I mean, you're in church the other, somebody walks up to, I stand up. Like, I had to move a chair real quick, but I stand up to greet the person. I mean,
sure.
if I was old and my legs didn't work, I guess you could just do this, but that's not right. That's not what I was taught. And a
Yeah,
lot of people aren't taught to be men anymore. And I don't mean in a, put down women. Women are lovely. They're equals, right? But we've also let them take charge. And if you have a strong woman in your life, you can remind her, is it all right for me to open the door for you? Like every time? And like to slow them down enough, because a lot of times if you're with a hard charging woman, whether it's in work or in life, they they're strong in themselves, and I respect them for that. But sometimes it's like, let a guy be a guy, let them pick up the check, let them get you the coffee, let them do something nice for you. And if it's not enough, communicate it, don't complain about it. Like, I think that's what's causing a lot of like hesitation in relationships. I would love for your perspective on why kids don't even date anymore. Is it because they can't afford to, or they don't even want to talk to each other?
it's right. It's that whole flow of thought you just gave. Men don't know how to be men anymore. Women are suffering as a result. because when a man doesn't know how to be a man in a relationship, then the woman has two options: either end the relationship or become the woman and the man. And a lot of women, this is how we get Karens. You know, we rip on women for being hostile, you know, call them Karens. But the truth is, Karens are man made. Karens are man made. It's because a guy didn't know how to be a man. And so he left the entire, my coaching method is called the security method because I teach security. Security is the ability to protect that which has value. And it's a man's job to provide security, both men and women, actually, in different ways. But there's a lot of more obvious responsibility of men to provide security, and we don't know how to these days. And so as men fall, and like you said, I've really heard a lot of talks about it, and I've agreed. We've become a society that has really put women's opinions ahead of anyone else's, and even, you know, minority opinions ahead of majority. Logic, sanity, progress in the last 20, 25 years, since about 2000, it's become, you know, it was a drip, and now it's become kind of a fire hose. And it hasn't helped because there's got to be some rational thought. And I think it is important for men to understand that you got to be forward. You got to, yeah, you don't want to be a womanizer. You don't want to be a jerk. You know, I'm not even going to say toxic masculinity. Like, I don't even like that phrase because it's never, I've never heard it delivered properly. It doesn't make any sense. But we're looking at, if you look across the globe, we have a real problem that the reproductive rates are below critical to continue. We're actually in South Korea, it's like 0.86. So the reproductive rate, I don't know if you ever looked into this, it needs to be, I want to say approximately 2.11, maybe 2.15 for every woman. Every woman has to have just over 2 kids on average for a society to just break even. And it's over 2 because you need 2 for a man and a woman to make a new man and a woman, but just above for attrition. You know what I mean? People get struck by lightning. It happens. So if you keep that 2.15, we'll call it, then you maintain. Korea's 0.86. I think Japan might be lower. And I visited Japan. They have no social skills among each other from what I could see. I was there for a brief window, but I really paid a lot of attention, and I've listened to a lot of what is available. People don't know how to talk to each other. Men don't know how to be men. They don't know how to pick up women. Women are not turned on by men. The divorce rate, not even the divorce rate, the rate of divorce initiated by women is approximately 80%, 4 out of 5 marriages on average. It's actually about 68 to 72% for most, but among educated women, it's approximately 90%. And women do lead in education these days. More women graduate from college than men. So that's where we get a blended average of about 80% of marriages of divorces are initiated by women. Because they're just turned off by the men. They're turned off. They say, what are you doing? You're not really being a man. And then I'm sick of being a man and a woman. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go find a man. But you know what? She doesn't have any luck because she doesn't know what a man is. She doesn't really know.
Well, a lot of people hide themselves too. A lot, you know, they'll pretend to be a role so they can achieve a result, whatever that is, whether it be through manipulation, through, you know, bait and switch. And then that makes a woman bitter. Right. And so then the good guy has to fight a harder fight, which at some point he won't. Right. And they'll say, well, maybe it's better to be solitary. Maybe it's okay to just go to a bar and date occasionally. And other people just see it for what it is, a transactional society. So, like, I feel like that's going to be the next chip to fall. You know, if people, let's say you got a new mayor. Let's talk about the new mayor coming into New York. Right. Let's see how funny that's going to be. You know, they elected a communist academic to be the next mayor of New York City. And it's not like the alternative choices were better. Cuomo being a corrupt official who had no business running. And Sliwa was, I thought, a great candidate, but just, you know, didn't get any spotlight. Didn't get any sunshine.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just are stuck on labels. If someone is a Republican, we don't like you. If someone's white, we don't like you. Like, well, who founded this country? Who came to like I'm technically not white, I'm Greek. I'm Greek, so like I'm other, right? Like we're
You're
the
olive.
black people of Europe. I'm olive, right? And a whole lot of love, right? And service and kindness. And then you come to this
I've got some
country
great
and
Greek friends.
no, thank you. No, again, we're very kind people. We always want to feed you and give you cookies and food and coffee and talk and have drinks with you and dance. So then they a lot of people are entitled, right? Especially in big cities. Oh, you don't know how hard we had it. I'm like, did your great grandma sister get shot by a Turk on a walk to school at 12 years old? Oh no,
Oh,
no, that didn't happen. Oh, was your mom raised by people who were both very injured and traumatized through war? No. Like, do you see? I, my circumstances don't come out. My cry for victim status or payment or whatever from the Turk not being asked for. I mean, injustices happen everywhere, and it's sad. But crying about them or being like the Al Sharptons, or it's not funny. Being the Dave Chappelle, bringing out Kaepernick to be hero that's not worthy anymore. There's no hero status in that. And you want to call us crackers? My mom was being called cracker at 5 years old in West Philly because she's more gangster than Will Smith. Okay, she had to hire
No, she wasn't.
protection. She needed protection. We hired a local. My grandparents hired a local black girl from the neighborhood to walk my mom to school because that was their only kid, right? And she
Yeah,
was being ripped, spit on, and being called crackers. What is a cracker, right? I thought it was something you put in soup.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and imagine you're 2025, right? And you're taking an 60s reference against a modern day comic who's very woke, who's very with it. Like, how just out of touch can you be?
Well,
Update your
and
reference.
that special made me realize, Dave was very self-aggrandizing. He wanted to, I mean, my wife and I talked about it for an hour afterward. Oh God, that guy told you everything that made him great, from the fact that he subtly not so subtly let us know that he's rich enough that he bought half his town and that he owns all of his town. And then he told us he's friends with, Stevie Wonder. He mentioned, if you listen to what he said in his talk about Stevie Wonder, he said Stevie Wonder was playing on stage. Dave walked onto stage while he was playing, sat down next to him, and then sang with him for the rest of the night. And in Dave's mind, he made the night better for people who were there to see Stevie Wonder. He thinks he is what makes Stevie Wonder a more enjoyable experience. He's out of his mind. Um,
Wow.
the whole thing made me realize that, we could say Dave Chappelle is the biggest, maybe the biggest black comic. I don't know. Probably not. But what we can say, I don't think
Well,
anyone has made.
fatter guys. There's fatter black guys out there. Believe me. He's not. She's not.
I don't. I don't think anyone. I don't think any black man has made more money calling black people the N word than Dave Chappelle.
What? All right. What are your thoughts on that word? Because obviously we can't use it, right? It's like there's a force field around it.
Yeah,
But like, what would we be able to call really entitled people who just want everything and haven't earned it?
I think. I think. I mean, the word has a definition prior to slavery.
I'm just
It
saying
does.
the old English word that we're not allowed to use, right? Because it has
Yeah.
such a bomb to it, right? Where it can be used like just breath in a rap song a million times, right? And again, I'm not saying it's good, but it's either equal rights for all or stop using it completely, like fire in a
Yeah.
crowded building.
I think
When it's cheap. I think it's a cheap word.
it is, and I've kind of joked that there's still talk about reparations, which I've many jokes about, but not for. But if we were to do reparations, then I think one of the
I already
stipulations.
paid your reparations. I already paid your reparation. Don't worry about it. I
Oh,
got
I
you.
appreciate it.
Oh man, the last 5 years, I've had so many black people live from Korea in my apartment. I think I've covered at least a dozen people's reparations. All right. How about
Well,
housing?
I'm
Right,
saying
same thing.
I think
I'm
if we
helping the
were.
housing shortage. I'm helping that when people don't pay their bills anymore and there's no voucher behind it because the government backs them up in their rights to stay for a house for free. I'm helping the housing shortage by losing money every month on my own investment. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that what big government's there for? Is to get in the
Right.
way of a property owner's right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Again, Jefferson would be spinning in his grave, knowing that the modern leaders of these towns are just running them into the ground. Like we have the worst leadership possible. I mean, you talk
Yeah.
about somebody jumping on stage and hijack. I mean, Dave doesn't have the right to sit next to Stevie Wonder. Right? I mean, come on. It's like this is like when Kim Kardashian went on stage at Prince's concert, and Prince says, "Well, you know, you got the ass, go dance." And she's like barely dancing. He's like, "Hey, no, no, you got to dance or you get off the stage." He kicked her off the
Really?
stage.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I didn't know that.
And Stevie, I mean, what's he gonna do? Hey, who can he wave to? Who can he point to and says, "I don't know who this guy is, but he's bothering my flow." Right? It's ebony and ivory, right?
Ebony and
It's not
Ebony.
black. It's not. Wait, hold on. It's not black and mild, right? Because
Wait,
he
wait, wait.
smoke. Hey, that's all he's good at, right? Is smoking them.
Black and mild. Yeah, that's all he smokes. It's yeah. But I'm glad to hear you felt the same way. I hope more people will start to feel that way because right after, so we kind of went on a comedy binge. We watched Dave Chappelle's special, hated it. Then the same night we watched Tom Segura's new special. That was pretty fun. That was pretty fun, but I still didn't love it. I'm not a huge. I used to be a bigger Tom Segura fan. He's kind of fallen off for
Yeah.
me. And then the next day we watched Jim Gaffigan has a new Hulu special. I thought it was phenomenal. His joke writing craft is unbelievable. It's a lot of people don't credit him as a top comic in the sense that he's not edgy. I think it was a little more edgy than usual in this one. And I just think his craft is incredible. I think his joke structure it's a class. It's a clinic on joke writing.
Not just that. I mean, you know, in the world of fat dad and family joke type comedy, like he's found his niche, right? And it's you can bring everybody to the show. No one's going to really feel uncomfortable. He's happy to make fun of himself in every way possible, but not put himself down. Because I feel like a lot of comics will whip themselves on stage. Like they'll share too
Redemption
much.
self-deprecation.
What's his name? Who's that Australian guy? I
Jim
forget his name.
Jeffries.
Oh God, forget him. Gosh, his special was not even. His was the rantings of a madman. Um, trying to impress his wife by being gay with a homeless man or something, and and
That was
and
so
that's
weird.
right. I know, but doesn't that cancel you? Like if I just stood up on stage out of nowhere and had no equity or three TV shows or a touring career behind me, and I just stood up and just had this maniacal rant, wouldn't I be canceled and obsolete? But this person gets paid big checks. So I think the message is like stop funding Netflix. Like actually stop. Everyone says, "Hey, stop, cut your Netflix, cut it off, cut it off." Well, they keep giving big checks to comics who speak for agendas, who
I
aren't
know.
funny.
I know.
Let me bring up for a moment Red Fox's "Wash Your Ass" album. He talked about how important it is to wash your ass because when you're with a woman, there's going to be some activities, and people have different size assholes, and some are dime size, some are nickels, some are quarters, some silver dollars, and in Dave Chappelle's case, it's a nice Dubai shaped brick, right? And that's what he sat on in Saudi Arabia, standing up for those people who don't stand up for free speech, who don't allow Christianity to even exist. Okay, the Bible, right? That's on my desk. They would throw it in the trash, right? They don't want it, right? But when he goes there and takes their money and doesn't point out what they could do better with, that's what Bill Maher takes issue with. That smug
He
little
played
crack.
both sides of the coin.
Thank you.
He tried to play both sides of the coin. He went there and took the big check because he wanted the money. He made sure to let us know that it was $6 million, 6 or 8,
Okay.
I don't know. He made sure to let us know so that it was a flex. And then
Okay.
he came back here and told us what was wrong with those people lightly. So he's a traitor on both sides. He's a traitor on both sides. Like, I mean, come on. Hey, if you're gonna take the check, just say look, you never know which grandkid's grandkid is still going to need a few bucks. So I'm taking the money. I grew up poor and I don't want to be. Then that's what I'm doing. And I don't agree with those people, but if their money's green, hate me. Fine. Say that if you're going to say that. And then I decide if I still
Yeah, he
or
should
not.
own it. He should own that he has like knee pads that can withstand the Dubai heat and shin guards that can keep his ankles warm while he fillets all the members of the royal family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Over and over again. Or maybe that he takes a quick trip to Dubai and becomes part of the next porta potty. Because Dave's not here, man. Right?
Yeah.
So like to quote Cheech and Chong, those people are classics. This person's not who they're supposed to be. Now they could be better. Don't count on it. There's a room for new people to rise. I mean, if you ever come to Philly, we have great comics. Most of them don't leave town.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I think their ankle monitors would buzz or something.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Funny way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm realizing it's 11:30 my
Sure.
time. I got to start to get the kids' lunch ready.
All
I
right, man.
got a 1 year
What
old
do you
over
look
here.
forward to the new year as a family man?
As a family man, so my baby just took her first steps yesterday. It was
Congratulations.
wild to see. So more of that, and hopefully not too fast, because we got my wife and I were talking this morning how it's crazy. Just even a little thing like that, you're like, oh my god, she's already a year, she's growing up, and it's like, oh yeah. But so more great progress for her, and yeah, to be able to really begin to not begin, but to further step into my passions as well, and be able to flourish those and get those to more people. So that's my goal. How about you?
Well, my goal in the next year is to bring more love to the world and connection.
Yeah.
So that's going to be having our podcast a lot more consistent, more delivery, more funny. Maybe we'll have a comedy special, and you can be a part of it. Um,
Hey, sure. Let me know.
because I was, I don't know if you ever heard of Patrick Bet David out of Florida.
PBD, of course.
Yeah, PBD. So I went down to PBD's headquarters for Election Day.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was there till 3 in the morning in the cheap seats, and I was walking around meeting people from Cali and all over who just wanted to be there, just to say
Yeah,
hi. And
that's so
and
cool.
yeah, it was awesome. And I met people from Philly and all over. At 3 a.m., as it was all over, PBD says, and again, we've connected a few times, so he knows of me.
Yeah.
And so Tom's been on the show, Tom Ellsworth. We had a great show.
Okay.
So you build this kinship with a lot of people by being on that platform. And I recommend you be a part of it too, to kind of hear
Absolutely.
your gifts on there. He said at 3 a.m., what people need more than ever is comedy. Right?
Yeah.
There's too much tension out there.
Yeah.
We need relief. We need to laugh. We need to feel like breath. Like so. Like I'm grateful for our time today, Paul.
Yeah,
You're
me too.
welcome back another day. Right? Because like I said, I don't want to hear about Chuck Berry no more, except for his rock and roll. But I'll have Roseberry on anytime.
I appreciate it, man. No, I appreciate it. No, I'm glad always to chat with a like-minded guy like yourself. We can't all speak freely these days, it seems. Well, we can and we need to, but
Yeah.
it's not as encouraged as it should be. So it's nice that we were able to do that today, man. I've
How can
definitely enjoyed
people
it.
find you online?
So my name is Paul Roseberry, spelled like it sounds, Roseberry. You can go to my website, paulroseberry.com. You can message me, paul@paulroseberry.com. And, if you have questions about confidence, relationships, anything like that, let me know. I'm happy to answer a question here and there. If you want to talk about coaching, I do offer packages where we can meet one-on-one, and I can help you to really create a strategy to accomplish your goals. I can help you to identify your assets, identify the task, and get out there and get it done. So those are the best ways. And I do put some comedy on YouTube. I have a special coming out soon, hopefully in the next few weeks. I've already recorded it. I'm editing it now. It's called We're Not the Same. And you can do with that as you will, sir. Because today, everyone likes to act like, oh, we're all the same. Everyone's equality of outcome. Oh, no. We're not all the same. Some of us work a lot harder to be better people than others. And we feel like we live on an animal planet surrounded by vermin. And, if that's how you feel at all, this might be a good special for you. So that's me.
Well, to quote Animal Farm, some animals have more rights than others.
Well said. Well said, sir.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for being on the show. And if you look for more confidence in the new year, I recommend you reach out to people like Paul. because a lot of times when we're not our full selves, we can't get across. So that frustration can lead to stress, can lead to discomfort, and maybe even missing a bill. So, like I said, pay attention to your confidence and then tune in to what Paul has to say. And I look forward to listening to your special.
I appreciate it. Dimitri, I'll get you that link as soon as it's up.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Thanks for being on the show today.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you.